Hello everyone, so this is GS Mains Paper 2, November 2017, Part 3. Fine, so let's start. So we have done up until 10 topic, right? So 11 topic is Internet Governance and ICANN, and this will come under topic 15 to 19 IR under International Institutions, right? Some people can argue that it can be kept under GS Paper 3 also. Yeah, right. There are certain overlapping portion, so you can keep wherever you want to keep. I felt that it is a part which is more nearer to international institution. So I've kept it here in GS paper 2. So first of all, what is internet governance, right? So internet governance is defined as evolving policies and mechanism under which the internet community community's many stakeholders make decision about the development and use of internet. So that is internet governance, right? So again, what is internet governance? It is not a single policy. It is a framework of policies under which internet communities members and stakeholders make decision about the development and use of internet. And the thing is, what you have to understand it is not managed only by ICANN, right? It is managed by many organizations like ICANN. And what is ICANN? ICANN stands for Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. And again, other organizations which are managing internet governance are ISOC, that is Internet Society. And again, the third one is ITU, that is International Telecommunication Union, right? And these are only three. There are many other organizations also, but these are the three primary organizations, right? So ICANN, ISOC and ITU, right? ISOC stands for Internet Society and ITU is International Telecommunication Union. Now let's talk about the present governance architecture of ICANN. So it is a non-profit body which was founded in 1998 that administers domain names and IPs, that is Internet Protocol globally, right? And it assigns the task. The thing is, this whole thing, it manages domain name, it manages IPs, right? But the thing is, who has assigned this particular task to it? So it was assigned this task to manage internet by US Commerce Department under a contract which expired on September 30, 2016. So all these things, where this ICANN is managing domain names and IPs, it was assigned to it by US Commerce Department. But the thing is, that contract has expired on September 30, 2016. So the thing is, US can, because we know that there is a contract by US government, so we know US can unilaterally interfere with the ICANN's policy process and the internet's root server, right? So that means there is a certain amount of control of US over ICANN. Now what are the recent changes in ICANN? So now the thing is, it will now be governed by a multi-stakeholder and will now be an independent organization with no external oversight. So now it will be independent of US oversight, right? And it will be governed by a multi-stakeholder, right? Multi-stakeholder system. Now, what are the concerns with these changes? So the concerns are there are numerous US executive, legislative and judicial control over ICANN, and root server will not change with the current proposal. So the ICANN root server is still in US and it will still be in US only even after all these changes, even after the expiration of the contract on September 30, 2016 of US, right? Now, what is the way forward? So you think the way forward is ICANN should be incorporated under international law considering the importance of internet, right? Internet is a global phenomenon. It is not intranet, it is internet, right? So it should be incorporated under international law. Or there is another proposal where it is said that we should put ICANN under UN body. So that can also work, but it should not be under US prerogative. It should not be under any US contract, because that can hamper this data security aspect to a certain extent. So that is the whole thing. So I hope the whole internet governance and ICANN thing is clear to you. Just remember, internet governance is not managed only by ICANN. Other institutions are also there, but it is a dominant institution. It is one of the main institutions, right? Fine. Okay. Okay, now let's move on to the next topic, that is India's alliances and China's connectivity initiative, which can be kept in the topic 15 to 19 IR. And in IR, there are different portions. So this is India and its neighborhood. So the thing is, India is being pulled into alliances to counter China's connectivity initiatives. We all know about all the China's connectivity initiative, right? OBOR, CPEC, and all those things. But the thing is, India has been pulled into alliances, but it should not rush into them. Why? Because the very countries which are pushing India into alliances are deeply intertwined with China in terms of trade. What is the example of it? So one of the agreements reached between Mr. Trump and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping was China's Silk Road Fund under People's Bank of China to promote Belt and Road International Trade Initiative, and it shows dichotomy in American policy. So the thing is, Trump says something and he does something else, right? So what is happening? Trump is promoting the formation of Quad, but at the same time, the Trump government is involved with China's Silk Road Fund under People's Bank of China to promote Belt and BRI initiative, right? So this is happening. So you can see the dichotomy here, right? So excessive dependence on multilateral frameworks to fulfill national objectives may seem lucrative in the short term, but it could prove to be a costly mistake in the long term, and it could compromise Indian sovereignty. So we should not be using multilateral forum for solving bilateral relationships. And this happened even in the Goa summit of BRICS, where Russia even said that multilateral forum should not be used for bilateral tensions or should not be used for bilateral issues, right? So that is the whole thing. So we should not be using it. Right now it may seem lucrative, but it can turn out to be costly mistake in the long term, right? Okay, now let's talk about Swachh Survekshan Gramin 2017. One thing about Swachh Survekshan, see, there are two components of Swachh Bharat mission, right? Swachh Bharat urban and rural. Remember one thing, Swachh Bharat mission rural, it is not under Ministry of Rural Development. It is under Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation. Just remember it, that this Swachh Bharat Mission Gramin is under Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation. This is a mistake which you can do, and these kind of questions do come in prelims, right? So this Swachh Survekshan Gramin can be kept under topic 10 governmental policies, topic 12 and 13 vulnerable sections and issues related to health. Right. Nothing is Swachh Survekshan Gramin 2017 has been is launched by, or it will be released by Quality Council of India. And what is Quality Council of India? It is jointly set up by government and industry, right? So it's not a totally governmental body. It's jointly set up by government and industry, QCI, right? Now, before we talk more about this particular thing, let's talk about the ODF states in India. What are ODF states? That is open defecation free states in India. So Sikkim, Himachal and Kerala were first three open defecation free states. Now rural Uttarakhand and rural Haryana have also been added. So you can say that there are 5 open defecation free states in India. That is Sikkim, Himachal Pradesh, Kerala, rural Uttarakhand and rural Haryana. Very important from prelims point of view. Now let's see. See, the thing is, this open defecation tag has been given to certain institutions, right? And certain villages and towns and states, right? But the thing is, 2 ODF verified villages in UP had 37% and 74% respectively of households without a toilet in their house. And this is a study by Immersive. That Immersive is a NGO which have done this particular study, and they found that in two ODF verified villages had 37 and 74% household without a toilet. So that means this verification is not being done properly, right? And ODF verified village in Rajasthan had a toilet coverage of just 16%. So all these lacunas, they are telling you that the surveys and all those things have to be done in a proper manner. So widespread open defecation in India continues to kill babies and stuns those who survive. So the basic issue why we are focusing more on Swachh Bharat mission and all those open defecation free, because it leads to diarrhea, it leads to other diseases, and it primarily hurts a child or hurt a baby or hurt children below 5, right? So that's why it is very important, right? Because see, I was reading somewhere in 1980s now, only 85 out of 100 children used to survive below age 5, right? Now it has increased to 96, and if you want to increase to 100%, then Swachh Bharat mission has to be a reality and it has to be a success. And every 29 states and all the union territories has to attain this ODF status, right? Fine. Let's move on to the next topic. So the next topic is the Tripura Model. So it can be kept under topic 2 function of states, topic 10 governmental policies, 11 developmental processes, 12 and 13 welfare schemes, issues related to social sector. See why I write these topics now? Because if you keep on reading them or listening them again and again, you will remember each and every syllabus of each and every paper of GS paper 1, 2 and 3, and believe me, that will do wonders for you. Why? Because whenever you will read any article from any book or from anything, it will directly click in your mind that yes, this particular topic is of this particular topic of my syllabus, and then you will be studying in a syllabus oriented manner, and that will help you a lot. Fine, so let's talk about the Tripura model. What is it? So the thing is, see what is happening. Human development consequences of peace in state has been remarkable, right? So we know Tripura was very much affected. See, after 1971 Bangladesh liberation, Tripura was very affected because Bangladeshi people, if you see the map of India, Tripura is a neighbor of Bangladesh, right? So lots of Bengali defecation or defection happened in Tripura. After that, instability was there because tribal people were fighting for their rights, right? So and then AFSPA was AFSPA was there in Tripura, but it was repealed in 2015, and even before it was repealed, and during that period also the Human Development Index has improved in Tripura. For the last 5 to 6 years, Tripura was ranked first among states with respect to implementation of Manrega, right? And an important feature of Tripura's economy over the last decade has been rise in labor force participation and workforce participation, particularly among women. So the thing is, in 2004-2005, this workforce participation and labor force participation was around 17%, which has increased to 38% in 2011-12. And this is a survey by, or this is a data from NSS, right? National Sample Survey, right? And this is marked contrast to India as a whole, where data shows a decline in female labor force participation and workforce participation over time from 49% to 36% in the same period, that is from 2004-2005 to 2011-2012. So what does it mean? It means that the labor force participation among women is decreasing in India as a whole, but it is increasing in Tripura. Now the challenge for Tripura is to generate adequate employment opportunities to absorb the increasing number of women who will join workforce. So that is the major challenge for Tripura. Now, let's try to understand the difference between labor force participation and workforce participation. See, workforce participation means the actual number of people who are actually working, and labor force participation means the people who are willing to work and who may or may not have got the work, right? So this is the difference between labor force participation and workforce participation. Fine. Okay. So let's talk about some one-liners. Now, Quad. Now, the thing is, major question is, when did Quad took place? What is Quad? Quad is an alliance or informal alliance of India, Japan, Australia, and US. And it took shape after tsunami relief efforts in December 2004. After that, this whole operation, or this whole Quad thingy came into existence, but people started talking about Quad. Malabar exercise, you must have heard about it, that it was first a bilateral exercise between India and US, and then it became trilateral now, and now even Australia was saying that it will join it. So it is nothing but an extension of Quad, right? Okay. Now, Global Breastfeeding Collective. What is Global Breastfeeding Collective? It can be kept under topic 12, 13, 15 to 19, right? Issues related to health, vulnerable sections, international relations, because we're talking about international institutions. See, a 2017 report released by Global Breastfeeding Collective. Now, the thing is, remember one thing, which is very important from prelims point of view, that Global Breastfeeding Collective is led by both UNICEF as well as WHO. So a 2017 report released by Global Breastfeeding Collective, which is led by UNICEF and WHO, has termed breastfeeding the best investment in global health, generating $35 in global return for every dollar investment. So they are saying the best investment in global health worldwide is breastfeeding, and for every dollar you are investing in this particular initiative, $35 will be generated, right? So that is the a report of Global Breastfeeding Collective. And why they are doing it? To promote breastfeeding, right? Because if you're promoting breastfeeding, lots and lots of issues related to child mortality will be reduced, right? So that is the whole thing. So this is Global Breastfeeding Collective. Now, Moral Authority of SC. Now, what is happening? See, if you are accused of doing something else and you went to a court and you decide who will be the judge, will it be correct on the terms of morality? So that is the whole question. So suppose if some judge of a Supreme Court is facing a certain issue where he is found to be an accused, right? And if he himself decides who will be the constitutional benches who will be deciding his case, so is it fair? So this is the master of roster question of CGI. We'll talk about it. See, the thing is, this urgent reform required to restore the moral authority of Supreme Court. The cardinal principle that CGI, that is Chief Justice of India, is a master of the roster must be re-examined. See, if CGI comes into picture, or CGI is accused of something, right? Then it should not be like that CGI will decide which constitutional bench will hear that particular case. It should not be like that. So this master of roster thing must be re-examined. Also, the unchecked power of CGI to constitute benches must be similarly circumscribed. Otherwise, what will happen? Supreme Court will soon be a far cry from institution we all revere, and some might say it already is. So the thing is, if you want, we say now we have a belief in our judicial system. So if you want to continue that belief now, if you want to continue that faith, we have to, we have to see regarding all these unchecked power of CGI, right? Because what happens if CGI himself comes into certain allegations, right? Then we have to see what to do, and Supreme Court has to check this dilemma to a certain extent, right? So that is the whole thing. Okay, now let's talk about smaller constituencies and longer campaign periods. See, money can't always buy vote, right? See, what happens in certain elections, it was seen that sometimes when these politicians give money or alcohol or all these things, people used to take that and they don't vote for those people. So it's not like money will always buy vote. And what is the best way to reform electoral process? So that the thing is, smaller constituencies and longer campaign periods are essential reforms as compared to putting a cap on expenditure limit. Right now they are saying 30 lakh, 20 lakh, 10 lakh. So this should be the expenditure limit. No. So again, the reform which will improve the electoral process is smaller constituencies, make constituencies smaller. So that way what will happen, the politicians can concentrate more and they will not have to cover longer distance to do campaigning, right? And longer campaign periods. If you have a longer campaign periods, so people can see their, see their politicians for a longer period of time, and campaigning can happen for a longer period of time, right? So that is the whole thing. So two major things which can improve the electoral processes, smaller constituencies and longer campaign periods, and it can have more benefits as compared to putting a cap on expenditure limit. Okay, so this was about the part 3, fine, and we'll cover the other topics in the remaining parts of GS paper 2, fine, November 2017. Thank you.